Hello and welcome to another episode of the Just Go Watch podcast. This week, we're quietening things down as we return to The Quiet Place, day one.
Don't say a word.
Do you know, every single person I've seen reviewing this so far does some sort of quiet gimmick thing, and we're no different. We're an
we just
absolute
did it.
sellout.
Oh,
Well,
I wish
we
you
are-
would
I
have
didn't
just
know
come
that.
before that.
We're the
and
worst.
We wouldn't have done it.
We should
I was
have been
torn.
shouting from the rooftops.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was torn. I was gonna start singing that song. It's a new dawn. It's a new day.
That's
it's
right,
a
that
new
was a
life.
For
But,
me.
but I
yeah.
didn't.
No,
And
good.
I'm feeling. I
Do
went
you know,
for
I
the-
do think I'd stand on the rooftop and yell out a challenge like
I'll challenge him as well.
Yeah, well,
Against
yeah.
the
Yeah,
Predator.
yeah, yeah. I do believe. Yeah, I do believe. Right. That I could take on 6 or 7 of those things.
Oh, yeah.
I do believe.
Only 6 or 7.
Well,
In an arm wrestling contest that one goes.
Oh,
if you're talking a fight,
yeah.
a straight fight,
Yeah.
I'll be the scourge of their world, boy. I'll be like in Invincible. I'll find a portal back to their world and go there and wreck it all. I'll just be like, listen, I know your weakness. Make some noise, and then they just still be like, they'll be like, my ears.
Now all you need is a water gun, and that's it.
Yeah, what
That's
terrible
it.
weaknesses? Water and sound.
yeah, on a planet that's 70% water.
Yeah, with people that are made of like 70% water as well. Everything's against them, boys.
That's it. I'd send you forward as a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you'd just like rip off your own skin so that they're just covered in water.
100%. If anything, again, much like in Under Paris, they've overplayed the threat here. These guys are basically no threat at all.
Actually, Deej, it's funny you said it because when I got out of the movie, I thought we need to talk to Netflix and come up with a sequel here where you have the sharks and the aliens working together against the people.
They're diametrically opposed to each other. Their goals cannot be aligned. I refuse to believe
Well,
it.
they could do.
Apart
maybe
from their hatred of
maybe
humans.
they have a common enemy to hate the humans. So the sharks eliminate them in the water.
In that case, I'm going to triple threat with them. I feel like I'm on the same team as them.
I'll just be on a boat, though, innit? And then again, I'll still be like, well, sharks are still useless, and weird creatures that I don't know can somehow survive comets smashing into the earth. You're also, but anyway, that's another story.
But yeah, we'll brainstorm that.
I did some digging prior to the pod. You know, I love my research and stuff, and I'd work really hard for the pod, do anything for
We
the
got to
pod,
keep
really.
it professional.
MP, I didn't have any facts and figures from you. So what was your impression of the first 2 films?
Oh, all right. The first one is amazing. I will say it kind of lines up with what was the M. Night Shyamalan? Was it Signs? Where you got a lot of emotion in it, and then you think it's really good, and then you kind of walk away and start thinking about the aliens and stuff, and you're like, wait a minute. But yeah, that movie, I'm not gonna lie to you, fellas, and I don't care how this sounds as a man, but when John Krasinski sacrifices himself at the end, I was bawling in the movie theater.
That was a good sacrifice, wasn't it? That was a good
Yeah,
sacrifice.
I was like,
That was
oh,
good.
so even since that I can't watch it because I know that scene's coming up. I'm like, no, I won't watch it.
That's a good
And-
a bit of family sacrifice, and that was a good family dynamic.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
agree.
it was really good. And then I had said I had not watched the second one, and I didn't actually watch it until after I watched this one, and that's kind of playing into my review. But yeah, the second one I liked it. I really liked the first. Really, what they do with day one in that movie with the cars going through the town and that bus scene when she's backing up, that was really awesome. But it was kind of like a step down where you're kind of doing the same thing again, and we'll get to that further on. But I liked those 2 movies well. It just I don't want to get into my review here, Hash, but there are things where you're like, the more you see of things, you start to go, wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, I think if listeners, I'm sure you've listened to both of our reviews for the previous films. You know, that was a Quiet Place, part 2. That was we went to see that together.
We did with the dearly departed Jules.
Yeah. That was the
died,
first.
Died that very day in the cinema when he swallowed a hot dog that went down the wrong way. Unfortunately, God bless him.
That was the cinemas had just opened up post vid. Do you remember what you gave the films, Deej?
No, I liked Quiet Place 1, so I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
say I would have probably given it a 7 or
Correct.
7.5.
Correct.
A 7, right?
Yep.
And Quiet Place 2, I would have probably thought it was a little bit worse, but still pretty good. So I'd have maybe said a 6.5.
You went with a 7. You might. I don't know if you
7.
came down. You might have come down, but you started on a 7 at
No,
least.
I can see that. I can see that because I liked them
Yeah.
both. I thought they were both
Yeah.
very good. Yeah. Yeah.
Julesy, dear him. He A Quiet Place was 6.5 for him, and then came down to a 6. And then I was on a 7 for A Quiet Place and came down to a 5.
Oh,
Damn.
outrageous! That's an
Yeah, no,
outrageous.
I remember the plot holes and the sort of how things just started happening and the way basically for me the beauty of the first film is how John Krasinski had created this world, and he'd obviously thought about, right, if this was the case, how would this world now function? Where there would the first day is like 89 days or something like that, 80 something days into this epidemic. How would the world function in order for these people to survive? And it was so good. And then the second one, they just start kind of shitting on it and just like, oh yeah. By the way, there's now like raiders who go around like raping people and eating people. How does that work? Do you know what I mean? It just became a bit, it just came silly. But anyway, we're not here to talk about those two films. We're here to talk about where it all started. The prequel, A Quiet Place, Day One, directed by Michael Stanowski. I'm familiar with any of his works. MP, you're usually pretty good for a couple of directorial. Put you on the spot there.
I know that he did that movie with Nicolas Cage called Pig.
Right,
Came
okay.
out,
I haven't seen
last
that.
year.
I haven't seen that, but that's got good reviews, isn't it?
Yeah, it has gotten a lot of good reviews. I have not seen it either.
And do you know what? Actually, looking up, he's pretty much all he's done film wise. Pig and now this.
Okay.
So yeah, with a runtime of 99 minutes, just over that hour and a half thing. Wasn't it nice to see a film that you didn't feel like take up half your day?
Yes.
With a budget of, what do you think?
This is difficult. I wish I'd have done an MP and just looked before.
Should I help you? Should I give you the budget?
Already, its shots are already being fired.
Should I give you the budgets to the first two films?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So the budget for A Quiet Place 1, John Krasinski's directorial debut, was just 17 million, and then at the box office made 341.
Damn.
The second film, slightly more now, 55 to 61 million dollars on a budget, and then made 297. So not quite as much. So on that trajectory.
All right.
Talk to me.
Apart from the bit at the beginning with the comets or asteroids or whatever it is coming in, there wasn't that many special effects. I got to think this is going to be less than the second one, but maybe more than the first one. So I'm going to say 40 mil.
Okay.
Maybe 35. 37 and a half.
Jesus. All right.
I'll go
NMP?
55 million.
Oh, this was 67 budget for this.
What?
Oh.
It's outrageous stuff, man.
Naturally.
What in this? What in this is
MP
what?
Well, you
started
take up
from
so
a high
much
now.
time. I've just sit here and look at my phone. I got all this time while you're trying to
Probably
come
because
up
it's
with your
got
answer.
Timon Honsu in it. You know what I mean? Maybe he commanded
Yeah,
a
he probably does.
hefty old salary.
And in terms of its box office, right? So obviously it's still the weekend, so we're not going to have super accurate stuff, right? I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you what it was predicted to do, because it's done more than that, and you've got to say how much more. So it was projected to gross 40 to 50 million in the opening
it's done
weekend.
more.
It's done more than that. So what do you think
Really?
it has done so far?
40 to 50, did you say?
That was what it was projected to do.
55.
Okay.
I'll go 70.
98.5.
God.
What?
Really?
It's
Yes.
more than doubled.
Yes.
My word.
Damn.
That's outrageous stuff. But I mean,
Mhm.
good.
Yeah.
Good.
Mhm. Nice to see. I say original films, original ideas at least. I mean, it's a sequel, prequel, whatever. Okay, so
We can
The
expect
plot-
A Quiet Place 4 soon.
so
right?
they are still making the sequel to the second one, and then they just put this one in as well. So the sequel is coming to that second one that carries
with
on
Emily
the story.
Blunt.
I don't know if she's going to be in it. but it will be a sequel. So
Okay.
I wonder that's gonna be a tricky one. That one, man. Like for me now, this last whatever comes next needs to be the last one, and it really needs to be less of a oh my god, we need to be quiet because of all the aliens, and more about we now need to hunt the aliens and extinct them. Because if I feel like if you do the same, it's gonna be the same otherwise.
Well, we'll touch on this in the review, but in the previous reviews, I do sort of do the similarities between your Alien and then Aliens, and the importance of
Let's see some
changing things up
aggression.
to keep it.
Let's see some aggression, boys.
Relevant.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
So, the film.
I don't like the idea of someone coming into my house and fucking my wife, yeah, and me having nothing to say about it. And that's how I feel
No, I
about someone landing on my planet and eating my people, right? I just don't
Yeah,
like it.
if
right?
they come in armor, then I'm going to get my tin opener and I'm going to find a way to pry that armor off them.
100%.
And then what will follow will be a most slow and painful experience.
Death. Yeah.
Well, they might not
100%.
even die. I might keep them alive.
All right. Well, listen.
Years.
No. I will
just
bow
playing
down
in-
to our alien overlords the instant they land.
Coward. Of the three of us, I actually believe you are the least likely to bow down, and Deej and I would both be serving.
Yeah,
I would have
they'd be-
some sort of dicky bow on as I bring drinks to our overlords. As you're behind the thing. Yeah, I ain't coming out.
I know it.
You gotta come in
some
here.
American guy there. You have some American guy going. I told you. This is what the Second Amendment was all about.
That's right.
No. No, the
Finally.
Second Amendment was nothing to do with aliens. It was to do with government, oppressors. It's nothing. No. I'm pretty sure somewhere in there it says something about aliens. I'm pretty sure.
Finally, I'm tired of shooting them paper targets.
Yeah. All right. So, A Quiet Place Day One picks off, as the name suggests, pre-invasion, and we follow Sam, a terminally ill cancer patient, played by Lupita Nyong'o. Always very good in one of my favorite films, Us, as you know, Deej. She's taken into New York City for a bit of a trip from the hospice with all the oldies. She's not really enthused about it because she's essentially waiting for herself to die. She takes her cat Frodo, and during this show is when the invasion hits. She'd had a big whole thing that she wanted to go and get a pizza, which we later find out is part of a ritual she had with her departed dad, who would take her to this bar and they would get pizza back when she was a kid. So I'm sorry, you're not going to get your pizza right now. She manages to survive, and we meet Man from Ireland, is what he was called in the second film. Honsu, who basically tells her to keep quiet, because these things are now running amok and killing people. She manages to escape with Frodo, isn't really bothered about getting to the boats by the shoreline because she still wants her pizza. She bumps into Eric, who's an English law student, and he's a little bit lost, doesn't really know what he's doing. She tries to shoo him away, but he follows her and they develop a bit of a bond. Sam saves Eric, and then Eric saves Sam, getting her the medication that she needs, until ultimately Sam, making a load of noise, distracts all these creatures to get Eric and Frodo to the boat. She's then able to die on her own terms, listening to some good old music in the streets of Harlem.
Nice. Look at him just stepping right back in.
Yeah, that was good.
Look at
that.
that.
That was
Woo-hoo!
good.
And I will also say, because there's some slanderous claims that I'll make notes on this prior to. That is entirely done ad lib. Thank you very much.
Hey, no one says you make notes. No one said, no, I've never heard someone say that. I've heard people accuse you of literally writing the whole thing and just reading it off in a robotic monotone voice. But I've never heard someone say you make notes.
That has never happened. I'll tell you that never. You think I'm gonna put that much work into the pod? Absolutely not. The only things I've got written down here: the runtime, the box office results, and then all the laughable times that MP beats Deej in those guesswork. Right. And that is it.
I tell you, the day the internet goes down, I'll never lose again.
Well, yeah, I mean, we wouldn't know because
Bill Gates,
Yeah,
please
shoot,
keep that internet running, Bill Gates, for me.
All right, so that is the plot to A Quiet Place Day One. Deej, what was your assessment and what was your rating?
I thought this was excellent, Wes. I did think this was excellent. I question people's decision making consistently all the way through. Like more or less any time a human being does anything, I'm like, why would you do that? Other than the only person who kind of makes consistently sensible decisions is the main character. But what's her name?
Sam.
Sam. She makes more or less consistently good decisions. Everyone else makes pretty awful decisions, and they seem to like just not grasp the concept that you can just stand still when there's a noise and you'll probably be all right. And the physics, just how on earth these aliens can tell the difference when there's a human being making the sound of footfall and there's like 50 aliens running around crushing cars and glass smashing everywhere, and the aliens can somehow pick out the footsteps instead and know that it's not their fucking alien. Yeah. So there are problems in terms of the kind of like, I don't know, the game engine, if you will, of the film. But this film really is driven by the characters. And if you get people invested in characters, you're always on the verge of success. And they do that in this. I was 100% invested in the two main characters, right? But the cat, I can't tell you the anxiety and the stress this cat was giving me. I was just like, please let this cat survive. And every time I could see it was on screen, I was just terrified something was going to go wrong with it. It was going to meow and shit like that. Like my heart was beating. And at the end, when he's on this boat, and MV said he cried when John Krasinski died. I cried when the cat lived. and I saw that cat with his little eyes closed, looking all peaceful on that boat. I was just like, my eyes welling up, and I was just like, he survived. Yeah, I was so happy for little Frodo. So yeah, they had to be fully invested. It was a good kind of mix of the kind of the tension and the horror part, and then the character building part. There wasn't as much of the aliens in this one. I don't know why they still felt the need to almost like kind of only show you bits of leg and stuff, as if like we haven't seen the whole tip beforehand. You know what I mean? Like, all right, we've seen the alien now in a previous two films, so you can show us maybe in a bit more detail. It would have been good to see them, but overall, I thought, look, it looked good. I was fully invested. I was tense kind of for a lot of the time, and then I was really kind of engaged with the characters and their journey, and I kind of completely was on board with this woman who's dying. It's just, I just want to have a fucking pizza. I kind of felt that was a really good take, and she was fucking excellent in presenting someone who's kind of got hope but is dying, and so like kind of doesn't have the same fear that everyone else has. Yeah, that guy frustrated me multiple times and did things I probably would have killed him for myself, but somehow they always turned out all right. And in the end, he turned out to be an absolute G, didn't he? So can't slag him off. So yeah, overall, I thought really good. I actually think potentially better than the first one. I don't know. I feel like I haven't seen the first one for so long that like maybe I'm overhyped. Maybe this cat stressed me out, bro. I can't tell you how invested I was in this cat's survival. You know what I mean? Like I was so invested. So I'm gonna start on a 7 and see where I go to. But I could well go up. I don't see myself going down. I'll tell you that. I'll challenge you to bring me down. I'll challenge any man. Yeah. And if you, is there no one else? Is there no one else? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's what I am. I feel like my 7 rating is Achilles stabbing Boagrius in the neck, and then there is no way you can get me down from there. But maybe you kind of find the Achilles heel in my position at the moment. So there we are.
All right. Well, if anyone was going to do it, MP, what was your assessment? What was your rating?
It's tough. It's always tough to follow Deej on this damn show. Anyway, going into this movie, as I mentioned, I didn't watch the second one until after I watched this. So that might have changed my view of this movie. But I will just kind of go with what I felt as I was going through the movie. There were a couple things before the movie even started that gives this movie an advantage. Hatch, you already mentioned one. It was just a little over an hour and a half long. And that is absolutely wonderful. Like you said, we don't spend half of our lives sitting in a movie theater for some of these 2.5, 3 hour epics. And also, I'm not sure if y'all heard about this. It might not have made the world news, but the city I live in, Charleston, South Carolina, has been relocated directly to the surface of the sun. So I was very happy to be sitting in a cold, quiet movie theater for an hour and a half. So that definitely bumped my score up. Yeah, I think overall it's a very solid movie. I think it looks really good. Everything it puts you, it kind of follows that formula, which is a formula that works. It also does something that we like is, the show don't tell. It has to, because everybody has to be quiet. So you have to kind of watch characters or pick up little things here and there, what direction they want to go with. So that's always fun filmmaking to watch. Like Lupita Nyong'o, I think that's how you say her last name. She's great in just about everything she's in. She has really great eyes and a facial expression, so she can convey all of these emotions that she is, giving and what she is, chasing. Because basically, this is her just wanting this last moment in this horrible situation where she knows she's going to die at the beginning of the movie. So she's having to really accept that and just have this one last, like you said, that piece of pizza to reminisce about that time with her dad. I like Joseph Quinn as the panic-stricken Brit who, in a little example of art imitating life, as it were, whenever these panic-stricken Brits run around, the first thing they do is look for an American to help them. Fortunately, he found one that got him all the way to the ship. The cat, Deej, the cat was, I don't know. I like the cat. That was like the best cat ever in the history of cats. I have a cat, and she would look me dead in the eye as the alien was at the door and ring that little tingle bell as just call it to my apartment. Like, here he is right behind there. So I know what cats are really capable of. But it was really fun to kind of have that. It was tension because as animal lovers, you kind of like, oh no, I don't know how that cat, they got it underwater. I can't even imagine. But on the negative side, it kind of, I think you've already talked about the alien stuff. The more you learn about these aliens, the more you just sit there and are like, no, this really wouldn't. I mean, at the end where they're in the boat and the boat keeps making the horn sound and all the aliens run to the like shore, but they won't jump in the water because they'll be dead if they don't. I'm thinking the Navy would just, pull a cruiser right through there and just drop bombs all the way down the side of the coast there. But anyway, once you start cutting into that, and it gets, again, very formulaic in what we've seen. It doesn't really add anything new to these aliens. You don't learn anything special about them. I don't think, while it was set in New York City, I don't think it really used New York City very well. I think there's so many things in a big city as opposed to what we saw in the first two movies where it's like quiet country. You could have all these extra noises and stuff you'd have to contend with. Plus, you'd have New Yorkers being like, what the fuck are all these fucking aliens out here, motherfuckers? But they didn't show any of that fun stuff. But I do understand her trying to get a piece of New York City pizza because best in the world. But overall, not to drag this out, because I know Hatch is dying to rip this movie apart. I'm going to go along with Deej and give this a solid 7.
All right.
Yeah.
So obviously, I really like the I really like the first
He's
one.
watching the football. That's what's happening.
That's what it
He's
is.
watching the football. 100%.
Just woken up now.
Own up to it. He's not the word you said, MP. He's listening. He's watching the football there.
Yeah, MP, are you going to go or what? Are you going to go or what? No, I mean, I might have been glancing to it. I mean, the only reason we're having to record right now, Deej, during the football is down to you. So
no, it's not down to me. It's down to whatever was happening in Watford today. I don't know, and I won't be held accountable for what those people were doing today. But whatever it was, it's a disgrace because it made me waste £10 firstly because I booked the IMAX. And so I had to wait then 3 hours and book other tickets to go to a different cinema because that's how much I love this pod, how much I care about our audience. And the junkies out there that are literally like this, oh, I need the Just Go Watch. I'll suck your dick, man. I was like, nah, come on, we have to get it there for you, bro.
Wait, where are those people at?
Ain't got no teeth neither. All right, so I really like the first one, and I thought they built the world really well. And I've said in previous pods, because I've been listening to them, both of which, by the way, are 2 hours long. So God bless you if you've listened to one of those. Yeah, I did think that once you start opening things out, as you guys have touched on, I think anyway, I wasn't really listening. That I did think that some cracks might start to show, much like is shown in their armor. Yeah, I was really looking forward to this, and I was really like, okay, cool. Show me how it all happened. What are these things about? What happens? Because we've had in the last one, it was a meteor. Oh yeah, there's the meteor there. Cool, right? It's all shaping up, and then what happens is she gets knocked unconscious, and the next thing we know, everyone's telling her to be quiet. But the whole fucking point is to show how it's all started. She gets knocked unconscious, and then we're shown, oh yeah, everyone be quiet now. Like that's the whole point of the whole fucking film. I want to see that. Show me why. How does everyone learn to be quiet? Like, oh, so that really pissed me off straight off the bat. But then they bring in stuff like where she's like, oh, hang on a second, there's noise here, but they're not there, and all that kind of thing. So they start to then show that kind of thing, and that's what I thought we were going to get a bit more. We don't really get anything more on the aliens, and I was like, oh right, okay. So I've really struggled with this film because Lupita does really well. James Quinn. He does really well in parts anyway. The performances were quite good, and obviously it's in the city, so it's something different. But I was watching this and I was like, don't get me wrong, the other two films weren't like big scares. All right, they were tension filled, character driven films, and I did appreciate that. But this one, I was like, I've seen this all before. Oh, be quiet, be quiet. Oh shit, little noise comes. I'm buggered. Quick run. Like the only thing that's really going for it is the performances. I didn't care for the cat. I'll be honest. That cat with the homing beacon to Sam, that was handy. The cat that's just like, just comes up to Eric and is like, follow me, mate, I'll get you some help. The cat then just casually walks up to the aliens and is like, I'm just going to chill here for a bit because we need another tension-filled scene for Eric to come and rescue me. I was like, is this a cat or a fucking plot device? Like, fuck me. And then ultimately at the end, she didn't even need to make the noise. They could have just carried on walking really quietly and jumped off the pier themselves. Absolutely pointless ending. But there's some nice character bits in it, and it is, to a limited extent, I feel the tension in some of those scenes. I thought we were going to get some really good bits. Like I love the bit when Honshu is he's got to kill that guy. That's exactly what I wanted to see. A fucking city in turmoil. Don't make a fucking sound. Don't have a panic attack now, or I will literally kill you. Like the limits. Let's see some horrible things that these people have had to do to survive in the early stages, and actually maybe get a bit more on the creatures. And also the film ends up running into its own. It sort of ties itself up in knots. But I'll get to that in a second. So I struggled with parts of this. But the performances are so good. Lupita Nyong'o, her like facial expressions and everything else, and she was really good in Us. I know I take the piss, but she was really good in Us. The film of Us just was trying to be too clever for its own good, but she was really good in it. She is really good in anything she does, and she does carry this film. Without her and Joseph Quinn to an extent, like this is a nothing film for me. If this was the very first one I saw, I'd like it a lot more, but I've seen it all before. It's almost, do you know what I thought of? And I haven't even seen it, but what was that film that was the rehash? The Strangers, is that the one you watched recently? Yeah. That's what I thought of. I was like, this to me is almost like that, because you're just rehashing the same stuff. It's the same style of scares. And I did think, we said in the second one it might run out of steam, and I felt it did. So I'm done between a 5 and a 6. I'm going to give it a 6 because I can't. I'm trying to lean towards the positives because there are some really good positives.
So you think it's better than the first one?
No, I gave the first one a 7.
I thought you said you gave it a 5. Oh, that was the second one you gave it a 5.
The second one I gave a 5.
Right.
Because the second one really lets itself down with some of the plot holes and stuff.
Right, understood.
And do you know what I saw in the first one? One of the creatures swims.
Does it?
In the basement, when the basement's flooded and the baby is floating, one of the creatures, real slow, like as though it's an Olympic diver, slowly moves in the water and then is in the water, and you don't even see the water rippling. That says to me that's a creature that knows how to move in water, and then slowly comes up right where the baby is. I didn't actually realize that. I don't think in the second one.
Can it stand? It can stand though, right? It's not like
no. It's fully submerged.
No, but like that's because it's underwater, right? But I mean, it doesn't mean that it can't stand up, right? Right. Isn't the point that they just can't swim?
Yeah, but if it can swim, it can.
I'm saying
it's physically swimming.
But you don't see it swimming, do you? You just see the water and then you see it come up, right?
It's press circle to crouch, is it?
No, I think it's doing. It's creeping through the water.
It fully like basically dives into the water. I know what you're saying. But like Don't have a creature that's like, oh my god, water, my
Yeah,
kryptonite.
yeah.
And then have a creature move
Especially
through
at the
water
end, they wouldn't even go
as
near
though,
the water. They were like, "Nah," screaming and running around.
yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's concentrate on the positives though, because I'm trying to be
Okay.
a more positive person with these films. Yeah, the two main characters, Eric, I think less so much, but Sam in particular, I think that's a really good blend of like, well, I'm fucking dying anyway, so like,
Yeah.
why would I?
So
Why would I? She's thinking clearly because she's got nothing to really live for, whereas
exactly.
all these people are losing their heads. I thought that she did that really, really well throughout the whole film.
Yeah, and like you said, she
Actually,
carries this movie, yeah. Any kind of a lesser performance and you're just bored through the whole film.
that's it. That's
Yeah,
it. Because these are character pieces first and foremost.
yeah, there's a
Tacked
lot,
onto
and
the whole.
it's not an easy thing to kind of take the the words out of a film, out of a script, and still translate to the audience the kind of the emotions that everyone's feeling. I mean, everyone can get you're scared, but to get the kind of like the little bits of emotion out, the kind of distinction between scared, terrified, anxious, whatever, that she did that really, really well. But
Yeah,
she's
and
great, man. She's great.
she is. And
Yeah,
their relationship when she meets Eric and how that builds up, I think they handled that very well. As you really feel their connection by the end.
Yeah.
it took me a while. It took me a while. By the end, I kind of got it right, but he annoyed me. His character.
Well, Brits are
Um,
like that.
yeah. So first and foremost, like he just comes up from the water. I was like, "What the fuck have you been? Have you been holding your breath? Did you get knocked down there? Have you come up from the flooded tube network? Like, where the fuck do you come from?"
It's a
And then
subway.
bizarrely, like
Here in America, it's
everybody's
called a subway hatch.
yeah. So he's the underground. So he's been on the underground. So he just follows the cat. I was a bit like, why would you do that? You know what I mean? Like, is pandemonium around you right now, right? Creatures are nearby, and also he doesn't lure a creature to himself. By the way, when he comes up,
But
like,
Yeah.
he's in shock though, isn't he? He's in shock, right? Guess he's just kind of like, I don't know, like.
well, I
not
must have
thinking
missed. I
straight.
must have missed that bit of medical advice that said if you've got someone in shock, treat them with a cat.
Nah, it's just like he's in shock, isn't he? So he's just like, I don't know, he's just kind of like trying to hold on to anything. He's a kind of a living creature. He might just be thinking it's a cat's going to take me to someone, right? Because cats do that. So
Oh,
maybe I
yeah,
don't know.
cats, that renowned social creature
Yeah.
loves affection and company
Well-
above all things.
No, he's got a collar on, isn't he? He's got a collar on, so probably thinks there's an owner. I'm just saying you can't. I think a guy in that situation, it's hard to know. What
Yeah,
how
all right, fine.
sensible
But then,
people are gonna be.
and don't get me wrong, I did like the thing where he's following her, and he's like, he has latched on, and he, like you said, he's trying to latch on to anyone, and Sam's like, oh, fuck off, mate. Like, I don't want someone else going to get me killed here. Because that scene initially, when you've got all of the people in the crowd there,
Oh God. Yeah.
that bit I thought was quite good. You don't know to what
Oh.
extent, if this is the first day or first couple of days, what extent do they know that they need to be quiet? How quiet?
I don't know, man.
You know what
I
mean?
wasn't.
I mean, it was a bit
That
silly.
was one.
But
That was one bit I didn't like because I was kind of like, they obviously know enough to be quiet because no one's talking, right? But they don't know enough to think. I mean, the whole way through, I just kept thinking, the last place I would want to be is with people.
Right.
yeah, agreed.
The last place I'd want to be with, find whoever it was that I wanted to be with, friend, family, whatever it was, and be with them. And last place you want to be is loads of people because they're noisy, but certainly not fucking. If I've just seen like tons of like these alien things come along and destroy like half a city, I'm certainly not going to be walking. Do you know how loud that would have been?
Oh yes.
Like, it's not even
All
like
the noise.
she doesn't hear anything, and all of a sudden she sees a couple of people, and the next thing I know, you see there's like a fucking marathon worth of people in the streets, and you're like, no way, that would be so loud. Like they would have been dead so long ago.
Yeah, that was something I thought they would play up more in the movie because, like I said, they're in New York City, one of the most populated cities in the world. So you would have to deal with all these other people as opposed to like the first two movies where you didn't have to. And it would have been fun to see that dynamic because when she ran out to that crowd, I thought the same thing, dude. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going anywhere near those people.
Yeah, no way. Because all it takes is there a baby in a crowd somewhere, some little toddler who's just going to start, screaming off, or someone trips and falls or whatever. I'd be thinking, no, I need to keep myself to myself. I mean, I know a cat, just putting out some odd meowing as well. I'd probably want to ditch that as well. But
I hated that cat.
each to their own. I mean, having seen the film now, I know that cat never makes a sound because it had its vocal cords removed at birth. So you're actually never in any danger. But you don't know that initially at the
Cats
start.
are quite quiet though. Other than like sometimes they do that nighttime thing, which is mental. But I feel like you can probably account for that. It would be like it's the thing that dogs do where they just literally hear something. They're like, nope, I'm having a go at that. That cats don't do that, innit? They hiss a little bit, but for the most part, when cats see a threat, they just kind of sit there quietly watching it, don't they? So I feel like it's not.
Yeah. I mean, they're definitely.
If they'd have had like a chihuahua or something, I'd have been like, no, that is that is not correct.
Calling serious bullshit on it for that. But I'd have liked a little bit more in the interim. I feel like when this is my problem. I'll come back to it. I know I had a little rant about it at the beginning, but the whole beginning scene, you've got like a random soldier there, you've got like mist, and then a couple of them are coming out of the mist, and then it's just a bit of like panic bit. But like, I don't know, I just felt it was a bit lacking. And then
it's not smoke, pal. Smoke, yeah. It's not mist. It's not having a weather problem.
It's probably dust. It's probably dust, if anything. It's not smoke, is it?
Well, what it is, there's been a fucking massive explosion as well, isn't it? Like whatever it is, it's not mist. It's not water vapor in the air, is it?
Oh, fucking hell, Jesus! You're giving this film a 7 out of 10, and you're looking over all the plot holes there. One's little slip of the tongue, eh?
Yeah.
Anyway,
we're
back to normal here on the Just Go Watch pod.
The day I'm corrected by Deej, Jesus. Anyway, I just felt like, and then she gets knocked out, and suddenly we're basically like we're in the film now. Don't worry about working it out yourself. Someone's going to work it out for you. And
everybody in that theater knows to just sit there and be quiet.
Everyone knows now. How do you know that? Well, what's the whole point is day 80 something when we pick up the first film, and then like it's like they've had to find out the hard way. And this is where I talk about like it kind of messes itself up, because day one, New York City is fucked, right? And yet in day 89, we see snippets of newspapers and stuff like that. So maybe you could say like different areas were affected in different ways. Some places managed to get print out and whatever, but yeah,
that is mad. When you think of it like that, like when you see the devastation that was caused and how quickly it was caused, you're kind of like, no way would there still have been fucking newspapers out. But then at the same time, I was kind of like thinking, like, how long has this asteroid fucking thing gone on for? Like, surely one side of the world is unaffected. Like, it can't hit all sides of the world, can it?
Yeah,
yeah.
Like, you think
there must be continents that are like completely unaffected by this. Like, I don't know, man. If
I think they said Australia should be fine. But there was a world. I only got a small snippet of it. And this is something I thought the film lacked as well. The first film does, again, this is what I talk about. This is like John Krasinski just developed this world where you have little snippets in the background, how many creatures are nearby, little newspaper cuttings that show that Beijing's been affected and 1,000 people dead, 100,000 people dead, and all this kind of stuff. I didn't feel like we had any of that in this film. There was no like real little snippets that would, suggest later stuff, apart from the obvious that we knew, which I thought I was quite disappointed. Like there was this to me was like a cash grab movie, effectively, I feel. A well done cash grab movie.
The second one, the way I watched them out of order, it really, if I'd have watched them in order, I think I would have felt more like what you're saying, because it was like, wait a minute, we did a better job in the second one of showing what happened on day one than we're doing right now in this big city.
100%. That little snippet at the start of the second one was better than the start of this film, and if you agree with that, then it's hard for this film to then, because what else does this film really do apart from two good characters that you see? It brings nothing new to the table, and if anything, kind of takes away from some of the lore that's previously established.
I don't know if it, like, for me, whether or not sometimes I think to myself that a film needs to progress something, right? But I don't know if in the beginning part, because half the point of the first one is like they earn the knowledge of like, oh, this kills them, and the newspapers have come out kind of giving a bit of information, but in day one they're not going to know anything. So I don't know what really you could have told us in this film, but it was a good character piece set in that world. So like I enjoyed, I suppose, just like, I know what you're saying, Hatch, about you'd like to maybe have seen the chaos and seeing how people dealt with it. But at the same time, I also feel like I've seen that film quite a lot of times. Like Bird Box was like that, and you got The Walking Dead and stuff that kind of shows when these apocalyptic events happen, how people kind of survive. And I've kind of seen that and the banding together and the struggles and the trying to get from place to place. Whereas this was just focused on kind of two people and their kind of journey in this world, is, you know, like a kind of spin-off, I suppose. And the performances were so good within it, and I got so engaged with them that I felt like that itself, it was just a self-contained story kind of in that world. And I was like, yeah, it worked for me.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, okay, right, we've done Little Midtown, we've done a city. What we're now going to do is two people who are on a road trip, and we're going to see their slice of the pie. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're now going to jump country, and we're going to how many do you want to do with this? Do you know what I mean? I feel like,
but people will always be engaged.
Like you said, what was it, MP? Like, make your third one, because they're going to make a third one as part of that trilogy, and then you need to put it to bed. You can't do anything more with it then, and it needs to be. I think you go out with a bang. Yeah,
extinction needs to be a war. But like, to your point about what could you make another one? I'm kind of, or not could you make another one? Where do you go with it? I'm just like, people will always be interesting. Like, if you can make a film that's got good characters that you're engaged with, the kind of what's going on around them is kind of less important, I think, you know, which is why something like The Walking Dead was able to be good for like a good number of seasons, or because ultimately what we watch films for is to see characters that we are connected to. And once you connect us to characters, kind of the world that they're inhabiting, obviously it's still important, but it's, you know, it's like you watch Star Wars and you're like, Rey, I don't care about Rey. I don't care about her at all. And so because I don't care about her, it doesn't really matter that it's Star Wars and how good the world is, because I don't care about the character. Whereas in, say, like the prequels, you say, well, I'm engaged with Anakin's character. So yeah, the film itself has loads of flaws and there's loads of problems, but I'm engaged with it. And it's kind of the same with this. There are problems with the film and the lore, and it doesn't really bring anything new. But because the characters and their stories was good, I was engaged with it. And I don't know if I'd ever get bored of seeing good stories told about interesting people and interesting journeys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think you're then putting all your eggs in that one basket. Like, if your characters are not good, your film is fucked.
Well, that's kind of true. We did watch Rebel Moon.
Okay. When I say that, but as in, like, you know, they've really got to be on point. Like Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn here aren't just fine. They carry the film. Like, you need characters that carry the film. They can't just be, they were fairly good character and the story was well written. Okay. They need to be fucking on point.
In this type of movie, yes. That way you overlook the flaws while you're watching, because you are that invested with the characters. If they were even just average characters that you see in another great movie or something, then you're going to be watching a movie and all these questions we're going through right now are just going to be popping in your head. Yeah,
I would say the first one does that.
Oh yeah, perfectly.
So well, that family dynamic and everything, and again, I think it's we always say this, but like, when you feel like the people involved did care, I do think there was an element of, we could still make some money from this, but I think whoever John Krasinski has handed the reins over to in the case Michael Sonoski, then
oh my God,
some care there.
Hachi, let's pause the press. This needs to be marked in history. England have just scored in the 95th minute.
Apologies for the slight delay there. We are recording this during the England game due to Deej's poor timekeeping and, well, other factors. So he says. So it may or may not be on the background, as we have alluded to, and England did just equal.
Oh, I wish I could get that in. The things I have to listen to.
So, yes. So what followed was just a couple of celebrations. MP joined in, of course.
Of course.
Honorary Brit for the day.
England.
But so the Joseph Quinn character, Eric, he did irritate me a couple of times at his like panic attacks that seemed to, he's fine, and then all of a sudden it's like, shit, we need to make this scene more tense. Have a panic attack, mate. Just like, you know, really, really start to oh my, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just go under the water, you fucking idiot.
What was this panic attack about? Was
Do
he
you know what I
afraid
mean?
of water?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
I
what I
don't
was
understand.
trying to figure out. Could he
but
swim,
how?
not swim, or what?
He swims fine. Like there's one of those things. Oh my god, there's one of them there. Like what the fuck is it doing there? What do you expect to hear there, mate? First of all, but then also like just go under the water. The only person who gets a little bit of dispensation about going underwater is old fucking Frodo, the furry wonder. Like apart from like, I can see why Sam wouldn't want to do it, but Sam's got a shit together. He's there like, oh my god, like
No, I
and
didn't
that-
understand what that. I didn't understand what's going on. I was like, is he afraid of? Is he got a water phobia and that's why he doesn't want to
Came
go
out
to
of
the boat or
nowhere.
something?
That's what I thought.
But
Came
then
out of
at the
nowhere.
end, he jumps in that water like a champ and swims. So I was like,
Well,
I don't know,
if the
like-
aliens are chasing you, you'll get over your phobias real quick.
yeah,
I
but he
bet,
didn't,
I
did he?
bet.
Because literally there was one right above him, and he's like, yeah. I mean, I've never been more disgusted in my life than how he was in that moment. I was like, I'd have been there with him, and like I'd have just been, I hate you so
I'd have
much.
held
and
him,
we
I'd have held
survived
him under
this.
the water. I'd have held
Like,
him under, and if
yeah,
he lived,
I
he
just-
lived. If he dies,
Yeah.
he dies.
I just couldn't believe it. And then when he started making that decision to climb that thing, I was like, "What are you doing, bro?
Yeah,
The
that
cat's
was
fine.
weird.
You're gonna get the cat killed." And luckily, he survived, and it was all good. So I was like happy, but I was convinced that was all gonna go terribly wrong. And I was sweating at that point. I was like, "Oof, this is
Yeah, I
really
don't even
doing."
know what the whole point of that scene was. Anyway, it didn't really. What were they doing? Was that eggs or something they were laying?
Yeah,
or-
what was that? No, because
Yeah.
they ate it, didn't they?
And this is
The
what
fuck
annoys
was
me.
that?
This is what annoys me. Like the whole I'm watching this film thinking we're going to get a bit more about them. We're going to
Right.
know what their angle is. Like 100%, right? If you want to say, look, meet your hit, they come out. We don't know. Like you wouldn't fucking know, would you? Meet your hits. These creatures come out. Oh, you're a scientist. Actually, like, we don't know. I'm fine with you not knowing, but like maybe just give me a little bit more about what their angle is, or like maybe you see them doing shit. Maybe they're creating, but instead it's
You
just
know what,
like
though? You got
it's
to be
like eating
careful.
some weird mushroom shit, and I'm like,
Yeah, that
right,
was
yeah.
bizarre.
So
Yeah.
now you've added that in,
I
right?
thought it was a baby.
So
I thought it was cracking open like their eggs.
thought-
to,
Yeah,
like,
that's
let their
what I
babies
thought.
out.
I thought they were eating like some mushroom thing.
Yeah,
I
it
don't know what
doesn't
the fuck it
explain it
was.
very well.
So this is what I mean. Like, so what are you doing, film? Oh, we kind of wanted to.
But like, if
bring
you do
something
too
in.
much, like if you show too much, right, and a human sees it, then it gets to a point where it's kind of like, all right, well, why didn't that information get about by the time we're in the first one, right? So
But you
you've
could
got
say that.
to-
You could say that. Like, if Eric sees it or if Sam sees it, well, Sam. By the time the first one comes around, well, Sam's long dead. Who the fuck
Right.
was she talking to? She ain't got phone signal. And then Eric, we presume, was on the island in the second one, with Honsu.
Yeah,
And
I'm just saying, if you-
may or
if
may
they saw
not have
it-
been part of the massacre.
Plus
But
in the
if they-
second
if you
one, they
saw
said
anything-
that the valley they were living in had like
Yeah.
weird reception or stuff. So maybe information would be very hard to get. Yeah, obviously at that point.
And that is also something that's just really well done. Like, okay, why don't they know a bit more? Why have they only got snippets? Because they're in a valley, not real signal. That's all I need. A fucking sentence. Do you know what I mean?
The
It just
thing is,
shows,
what-
it just shows the
What
care.
do you want to know about him, though? What do you actually want to know about him? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm someone who loves to know. Like, I'm like, where horror film people are like, no, you shouldn't know anything about Michael Myers. He's just this ominous presence. That's what makes it scary. I'm like, no. I want to know. I want to sit down with him and ask him loads of questions.
Well,
like, how did you do
I
this
would-
and stuff, you know? But
I-
so I like to
compare
know.
it-
But what do you want to know about him?
I'd compare it to, like I've said before, the Alien and Aliens. In the first film, we literally get like, boom, yeah, face hugger, xenomorph, they're gonna fuck you up, and that's all we get. That's all we need. Second one, it's like, okay, well, you know, what's this creature's vibe? What are they all about? Okay, they've got a nest, they've got these eggs, and they have a queen that lays
Right.
them. Blah 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 blah. What do they want with humans? Well, they want to make them into cocoons so they can then whatever. And this thing, like, okay, so if they're eating that mushroom shit, like, one, does that I presume that's come on the meteorite, then that's their food source. So what are they doing? Is that a regenerative food source? If you're going to introduce that, I would almost have rather them not do that. Right? You could have just shown that this is a meteor. There's like remnants of a meteor there, and they're just like sleeping or hibernating there.
I
or
suppose it would
something.
be good to know what they survive on, because you never
But
actually see
why-
them eating humans, did they?
Yeah,
Like-
exactly. But you wouldn't even need to. You could just presume that they did, right?
Yeah.
But they don't. I mean, no.
no.
But you actively see them kill humans and not eat
Yeah.
them in it. So
Yeah,
I
you
assume
do,
we're
but
not a
so-
food
so-
source for them. So what do they eat? What do they survive on?
Well, you
But
could,
again,
yeah,
did
they
we
could
not
have been
say
on
this
their
in the
own
first
then.
one?
We
Did we
probably
not say in
did.
the first one that like
Yeah, I think we did.
it's one of those films where it's a bit like, do you need to know these kind of things? Because if you start getting bogged down in the kind of the way that like it doesn't work. This is the thing with like these aliens, like MP said, like in reality, if all you had to do was fucking, or I think it was MP, or maybe you had to, but good point, whoever made it. So take credit. But like, if all you had to do was make noise and draw them all to the edge of the river, you just be like, come here, nye, nye, come here, nye, nye. Right, load the 50 cows, boys. Come here, and you know what I mean? You'd have like fucking tons of dead, and then the more you shot them, the more would come.
More
and
would
you'd
come,
like, fucking you'd just be on the side of a fucking boat, fucking drilling them all. Like,
why do we not have naval battleships currently in the rivers up and down New York City? Just mowing these things down as somebody's like singing "I'll Be There for You" on a fucking tannoy speaker in the background. Do you mean because they follow the choppers? The choppers are in the air. These things. This is the other thing. Like, what level of intelligence do these creatures have? Because in the first one, you've got the waterfall. Why are they not constantly attacking that waterfall? Like, there's fucking sound here. It's just constant. Whoa, why can't we? And then the rain. Like, are they not going like crazy? Like, oh my god, it's all around us. Let's just start swiping at things. They seem to know that, but then they also like a whole crowd of people isn't like a large noise.
I heard.
And then they also know not to go in the water, even though in the second one they're seen like jumping all about. Like there's zero caution next to the water, even though to fall in is certain death.
Right.
So I don't get it. You're kind of mixing
a lot of that, I think.
things up, and as you say, to trap these things or to kill them would just be so fucking easy because they just seem to have zero intelligence. Like you rip a shirt.
Oh, it's pure instinct, isn't it?
You're done for.
It's pure instinct.
You rip a shirt, but also as well, like as we see. So the ending really bugs me, right? Because so Sam's like, right, I'm going to get you to safety. She starts smashing shit. So this cancer patient outruns like 10 of them for like several minutes as Eric is making his like run. I mean, he could literally just walk calmly. Why does he need to run and risk making noise? He could just walk calmly because noise is what gets them. He does. In fact, she doesn't even need to do anything because if they just walk and they're silent, they could just slowly walk in the water, one step. Oh, yeah, swim. Okay, yep, we're there now. No one made a fucking sound. Instead, she starts doing these car alarms. They take ages to try and track her down. They get to her. He makes a sound the other way. Then they all start going for him. So basically, all you need to do to survive in this world, right, is have a bag of rocks, and then every time you like trip, you're like, oh fuck, I made a noise, shit, rock, throw it 100 yards.
Yeah, I said that, and I said to my missus on the way back, I was like, "What I do is I carry a bunch of tennis balls around with me, right? And anytime like I thought one might be about I was going somewhere, I just lob a tennis ball somewhere and then just like stand still for a second and watch all of them go run towards it, and I carry on my business of doing what I was doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, they are stupid. They're pure instinct-based creatures, isn't they? There's no
And
the movies, all three of them have kind of played with. Played it loose with all this sound stuff. Like, I mean, they're in the city and there are points where they're running across concrete and streets. And I'm like, that's going to make noise, especially if you're all alone on the street. And I think he was wearing dress shoes or something. So that would have been echoing everywhere. They would have been dead quick and fast and in a hurry.
Just to quickly interrupt as well, England have gone 2-1 up.
I know, 2-1 up.
For anyone listening, 2-1 up. For anyone listening live. Obviously none of you are listening live, but just know that we shared in that moment with you if you did watch it earlier. But so that annoys me with that ending bit, and then she doesn't even got then, so it's like, okay, that was pointless because what you're saying is that you're able to just walk away, but you made all that sound earlier on.
But that is what should have. But that is how it should be. It's the rest of the time that they do it wrong.
Exactly.
The time they do it wrong.
So 90% of the film, right, there's a sound. But also as well, like someone will stop making a sound. They stand still and the creature obviously homes in on that location specifically. So basically you take 5 steps to the left or right, and unless you're on the path it comes in, you're going to be fine because the creature will be like, I'm going to zone in on that little fucking spot and I'm going to hammer whatever making noises there. And then it'll just sail through and they're like, oh, fucking hell, that was weird.
Yeah, I
'Cause
mean,
surely there was a
basically,
sound there.
if you make noise, you just then got to like lay down on the ground, like slightly off center from where you were, and you'll
Yeah.
probably be all right.
Just start rolling.
Well,
Just
if it makes you feel better, all the American tourists that you hate so much would be dead instantly in this world.
listen. I'm not saying we need these guys to hit our planet, but yeah. I mean, look, I need things to make sense with that kind of thing. I love the background. I love the story. That's why I love the first one so much. I mean, I only gave it a 7 because it, even then it is a little bit limited, and I feel like how long can you keep this gimmick going of the sound thing? Because the creatures will eventually run themselves into a wall of just be quiet basically, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, it is difficult to be fucking quiet, man. Like,
Yeah, it is. But then also
it's
how
hard,
like
man.
once they start spreading out, we even start to see it in A Quiet Place. Sometimes you make a sound and you get away with it. So
Well, yeah, I mean, yeah, and that's one thing that annoyed me about this film. It's like, why is it every time someone like I understand, right, when that generator goes off or something, why like that would attract one of them, right? However, 2 problems here. One, why is it then the rest of the time, like when someone just like, I don't know, makes a tiny little noise, one of them's always there? Like you can't just be everywhere. But
Yeah.
secondly, if one of them's there when you make a tiny little noise, when that generator goes off, fucking everyone should have been there. That generator was so loud.
Yeah.
Why was that fucking hotel or wherever it was, theater they were in, not literally just fucking like it should have been full of those things. So like,
But
they're so inconsistent.
also when that like generator goes off, right? Just get away from the generator.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
Get away
know.
from the thing
I know,
making
try to
noise.
turn it off.
Yeah.
Just
Let,
go the
them,
opposite
let them
way.
eat the generator.
Yeah.
Let them eat the
fuck the
generator.
generator off, and then because that's the thing as well. They're not going to like, yes, we deleted that sound. I wonder if there's any more sound nearby. They don't do that. Like, they hit the sound and then they're like, right, job done. Anyway, back to go eat some ground fungus or whatever it is. But, you know what I mean? Yeah. So my big flaw
It does
with
that
this, right?
typical thing as well, doesn't it? Typical thing where it's like, as well, this massive noise is going off, right? And nothing happens. And then he manages to stop and he's like, phew. And then he
So I can only-
fucking,
I can-
what does he do?
See, I
Rips his
explained
shirt,
that.
Yeah, man.
I
and then all of a
explained
sudden
that,
it's
right?
fucking there. Where was it? Was it
I
just chilling?
explained
Like,
that.
hey,
I explained that right by. I mean, it's a shit explanation, but obviously it's been drawn to the sound. He turns it off, and it's like, oh, hold up. What? I thought there was a sound nearby, and then boom, he rips his shirt. Oh, there it is, and it happened to be. Obviously, that's
no
then,
way.
that is thrown out because these things, as you've said, are not fucking quiet when they're coming. Like they are bloody loud. Like they're smashing glass, they're
There
jumping
was
all
a
other
joke in
stuff.
there somewhere.
How?
Man, it was so
how,
loud. It was so loud, the generator. Like, I feel
how-
like
how
if it
are
was
the
that
others-
close in proximity, it would have been there.
in
Jumping
that
in like,
skyscraper, that glass skyscraper, how are the others not like, mate, I'm trying to listen here. Can you stop smashing glass?
That's what I'm saying. How would they know the difference? That's what I'm saying. How did they manage to track them with their
There's
little
the
like
movie I wanna
footballs?
watch.
Bats do. Bats from echolocation. They know the difference between themselves and
That should just be
It's
the
not
next movie.
themselves.
It's
It's
the
not
aliens
themselves, is
yelling
it?
at each other. Be quiet! I
It's-
can't hear the noise because you're making all the noise.
They're making so much noise, and it's not like, all right, if it was like, oh yeah, we can tell the difference between our own footfall and the footfall of those of humans, right? That I would get. But how they can tell the difference between the concrete smashing and cars being destroyed? Like, how would they know? So basically, what you're telling me is, if there's a bunch of them around and I start smashing car windows, right? They're not going to know that it's me. They're not going to come after me because they would think that that was the one of them doing it. Like, that's nonsense, isn't it? Like, all they would hear is they'd just be running around in circles, like fuck, it's everywhere. Ah! You know what I mean,
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, what we need.
though, I did like that scene where she was under the car, and it was kind of
Yeah,
slowly
yeah.
sinking
Oh, that
down.
was
That
tense.
tire was like hissing.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh shit, get
Yeah.
out of there!"
I
It went
That's
too
the
quick.
kind of
though,
good
but-
shit. Yeah.
few
that's
good
the
scenes
good
there. Like the
stuff.
car one was really good, and I thought the chase through the subway system was that kind of whole bit was really good. Like whether or not
Yeah.
it made sense as
Until
we
they
just
get to
discussed
the water.
is
Until
one
they
bit,
get to the
yeah.
water.
But it was really good. And I think this is the thing about it. You would outside, you're in a bit of trouble, right? I suppose. But when you're in these kind of like somewhere like a subway, you would lose them. Like you've only got to get around the corner and stand still, and then they're kind of a bit like, fuck. These things are blind. Yeah, it's almost like the film underestimates how, like, not to be offensive to anyone, but how much of a handicap that would be, right? If literally the only thing someone's got to do to stop you from finding them is not make sound. And if the law had established that they can hear heartbeats and breathing and things like that, then obviously there'd be big trouble, right? But that we know that that's not the case. So literally, the only thing you've got to not do is not make any kind of like major sound. So the second you're not where you were when you made the sound, you're pretty much safe.
Yeah. No, I actually think as well you'd be better off outside where you've got like ambient noise, whether it's the wind, whether it's rain, whether it's trees making. I feel like you're more likely to get away with shit there. I'd love to see these things like in a tornado, like it's a big fucking sound over there, and then whoa.
Can we discuss briefly how on earth have these things survived though? Like that is one thing I would like. Like I'm well curious.
We talked about this in the previous one.
This film is not the place to tell you where they came from and how they were there. Like, do they need oxygen? Do they whatever? Blah blah blah. Right?
Yeah.
But how on earth have they even taken into account of the fact they've traveled through space and all this shit and how they would have even survived that? They crash into the Earth at like thousands of miles an hour. How the fuck have they survived that? Like, I don't care how tough they are because we do see that they can be physically hurt in the other ones, right? Yeah. Like some, like I can't remember off the top of my head what happens, but we do see that they can be physically damaged, don't we?
Well, they get
shot in the head, shotgun to the face and stuff.
That's only after the sound wave thing.
Yeah, once they open their faces up. But what that tells me is that they're not like fucking invincible. So how on earth can they just smash into the earth, survive the fucking I know going through the atmosphere and all that, and just be all right? I'm not sure.
For me, I'm actually. I know I'm going to be a complete hypocrite there. This is actually a part I'm like, keep your secrets. Keep your. Secrets.
I know. I remember you said that last time.
Yeah,
you said that last time.
I'm happy. I'm happy with. Yeah, they're either in the meteor or they're on the meteor in a state of hibernation. Their armor is so thick that they can like proper close down, and it just keeps them safe. Maybe if they're inside the meteor and they've got a bit of protection then from the. As they're coming in hot onto the earth, and then they hit the ground, and then they're almost like awakened by the sheer amount of kinetic energy, or I don't know. Some
was there ever an explanation in the second one, or anything at all about any theories about where they came from or anything, or is that
it was a meteor? They say meteor in the second one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but there's never been any kind of like theory about like how they're here, and do you know how unlucky we would be as a planet to not only get hit by asteroids, right, or comets?
You're saying lucky?
Yeah. Unlucky.
Unlucky.
Yeah. How unlucky we would have to be to get hit by them, and then not only to get hit by them, but for them to have the fucking alien life on them that can destroy, and then not just alien life on them, but alien life that's big enough and powerful enough to destroy us. Man, that is a bad day.
Well,
cosmologically, that is a bad day.
We're over here. We got you. We ain't worried about aliens in America.
No.
We got you. We will wipe them out.
Listen, I'm not going to fight no damn alien with no damn Mexicans, man. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it unless they red, white, and blue. I'm not fighting with them. I'd rather that alien eat me alive. I really would.
That's right. We got you, boys. We got you. You just hop in the back of the pickup. We'll take you out to the aliens. We'll get this over real quick.
Right, so
I'm gonna go get my 12 gauge and we can go out back. We're gonna sell this real good man to man. I'm gonna put that alien in the octagon. We're gonna see my jujitsu skills.
Show the kids in the back. We're headed out.
That's quite enough of that.
I think the accents have been done to fucking death. Jesus.
Absolutely quite enough of that. But this turned into a real debacle now.
You are bringing the pod.
You really are a rambunctious bunch, aren't you?
Are you or are you not changing your ratings?
No, suck me, boy. I won't do it. I won't do it. I'll stay on a 7. I will stay on a 7. And in that way, there's a good symmetry because I've given 7 to all of them.
There you go. Oh, yeah, I'll stay with a 7. I think there was enough positivity in the movie that I would watch it again.
I'm staying on 6. I don't want to watch this again.
Yeah, well, there we are. Yeah, also, I don't know if it's got the rewatchability factor might not be there on this one.
That cheap little jump scare when she's dreaming. I'm not about that. There's enough jump scares in this. Come on.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily. Yeah, I kind of thought to myself, was that just something they'd like?
Yeah,
from another film or another like maybe in the kind of opening scene where like they're first there, was that just something that kind of they'd shot and didn't get in, and they thought, oh, it looks cool though, let's get it in a dream sequence or something?
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. So what's that give us then? 2 7s and a 6.
Oh,
He's really making us wait.
I know.
really making us wait for that one.
uh,
We can hear you. So just to fill a bit of space here, as all good hosts do. The first one got a 6.83 from us, and the second one a 5.6 overall. So where does this one land us?
can you hear me? I'm back.
Yeah. So don't worry, I've been filling
Sorry,
time. I've been filling time
nice.
wonderfully. This is a very
nice.
professional.
You are a professional.
This is a
I know,
professional place, professional pod.
What happened was
you are
I
live.
rolled over because my dog came in, is what happened. And I was so overcome with emotion thinking about that cat that I had to give him a cuddle. And it cost us dearly because
That
then my
cat's
microphone
probably
unplugged.
bigger than your dog.
Maybe, but not in terms of a fighting spirit.
Nah, he is.
So that gives us a 6.6. Actually, no, 6.7, because we round up, don't we, on the Just Go Watch
We
pod?
are
So
positive.
6.7.
Yeah, we're positive. That's just shy of the first one. Okay, I mean, if it had got more than the first one, I'd have been disappointed because I do not think it deserved that. But
Yeah,
still, it's such a rating. What do you think then? On that note, that the ever respected Rotten Tomatoes critics gave it and audience score?
I'm gonna say, I think the audience would have quite liked it. I'm gonna say the audience would have the critics would have given it a 82, and the audience score, I'm gonna say pretty close, an 85.
Okay,
No,
MP?
a 90 for the audience,
Okay.
All right. I will go. Let's go 87 for critics and 92 for audience.
Dij, what did you say for critics again?
82.
Oh, so critics is 84. So you get
What
it.
did MP say?
87. You get it by a whisper.
Yes.
Won.
Listen, Al
I
Gaib. I am the mind of the Pod Nation. You must.
You needed to get something right this one because MP got the box office and the budget.
Suck me, man. Suck me.
And the audience score, you were both quite a bit off because it was 73.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the box office is doing really well. The critics have liked it, but the audience.
Yeah, I think there is a little bit of fatigue. Like,
yeah,
the gimmick is done. The critics can say, look, this is a really, really good, well-produced, well-acted film. But I think the audience are probably thinking, yeah, it's good, but like a bit like, yeah, they're almost a bit of a blend.
We've seen it already.
Exactly.
Yeah, but then why is the box office so high if the fatigue's there?
Well, because people are they're going to see it, thinking, like I might have been, that it was going to be giving you a little bit more, and then it's just exactly more of the same continuation.
Interesting.
So,
Très intéressant.
Wait. Well, listen, look, that was our review. We've now done all three. It's nice to get the collection of A Quiet Place. Go back and listen to the other ones if you've got a spare day.
Yeah, and also if you're not that bothered about the quality of the audio.
Because, we've come a long way.
We've come a long way. I believe Quiet Place 1 was our second pod, and Quiet Place 3 was our third.
It was back in 2020, 2020, 21?
2021. Back in 2021.
Wow.
God, it's Jules been dead that long.
Yeah.
That long.
I can imagine as well some listeners being like, well, that MP sure has changed his accent in the last 3 years.
I'm a chameleon.
You had enough of the accents. I thought you'd had enough of that, Hatch.
I didn't really get to do any, so
3 years. I just can't believe how time flies. Jules's body is nearly fully decomposed now.
There was a long time.
There was a lot of it. A
lot of decomposition.
Yeah, the worms have been feasting for years.
He has created his own ecosystem down there. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
There's meteors hitting that thing and like just bouncing off. Anyway, that was our review for A Quiet Place.
A Quiet
Day One. Yeah, well, let's get on board with it. But there's only one way that you are going to know what you thought, and that is
Just go